Hi everyone, so before I start the video, I just wanted to say thank you so much for 100 subscribers. It's not much, but it really is a huge milestone for me. I know almost all of you are from the Pewdiepie vs. T-Series video, but I really hope you enjoyed the animations that I'm going to be making for this channel as well. Alright, let's start the video now. So this is just going to be a quick overview of how I made the video. I just thought some people might be interested, so let's dive right in. So this video is actually not very complicated or difficult at all. It's just a bunch of extremely time-consuming work, which is why it took me over 50 hours. So I used four main techniques, which are 2D and 3D keyframing, 2D motion tracking, masking and rotoscoping, and 3D camera tracking, which was just for one scene. So the first one, keyframing, is what I used for most of the video. What keyframing is basically going frame by frame and adjusting the position, the size, and even the rotation of an image so that it fits where you want it to be. For example, let's take a look at the first scene. In it, I had to replace the eye because the original one looked like this. So all I did was I created a black oval, added a little gradient and some blur to make it look more natural, and I went frame by frame adjusting the rotation and the scale of it so that it placed perfectly over the original pupil. Then I went ahead and slapped on the title, reversed it, and there we go. We have the first scene. The title itself was also pretty easy. It's just a bunch of text that masks over a few stock footage pieces I found of some fire. This one was pretty funny. I just saw the original Switch logo in the trailer and I thought, let's make one with Pewdiepie. So, in the actual first scene, I realized just as I was making this video that I made a mistake. So the Brofist logo was actually supposed to be the only thing on the gun, but instead it looked like this, and that's because I accidentally deleted the layer that was covering up the Star Fox logo. Originally, it looked like this, where I went through each frame and covered up the Fox logo with a layer that was the same color as the gun. So it was supposed to look a lot better like this, but I messed up. And that sucks, but whatever, can't really do anything about it. So this is the first example of kind of matching these logos to represent different characters. For example, Mr. Beast was Fox. And basically all you have to do is you go frame by frame and match it on top of their heads. For this scene actually, it was a bit easier because I could use 2D motion tracking. That's basically where you go ahead and tell After Effects to pick a distinguishable point. For example, a lot of the time I chose the character's eyes. And After Effects automatically goes from my frame and tracks the position of the eye. So that way I can just quickly drop in all the logos and they'll automatically match. However, that didn't work for any of the other scenes in the video because they were way too blurry with all the fast movement and I had to do everything else manually. And that's where I lost a lot of time. This is one of my favorite scenes just because it looks so cool. There's a few different things going on. First off, I had to move the logo in 3D space, kind of rotate it a bit so it looks like it's inside. And then I had to just mask the wing out. I cut out the part where the wing was supposed to be on top so it looks like the logo is behind the wings. Next part is you also have to rotoscope these hands out because they're actually supposed to be on top. They're in front of the logo. So you have to go from a frame, rotoscope those out, and bam, you have yourself the scene. Then of course the rest of it is just a bunch of manual keyframing, going frame by frame, making sure that the image, for example Markiplier, his head is aligned with Marth's neck. For example, Jaden here, I did a bit of 3D keyframing, such as when Zelda pulls her head back, just so it looks a bit better than just doing everything in 2D like a lot of meme videos do. Then for this one, I had to rotoscope the skin of the hand, so that way it would look really cool, like it was peeling off and revealing the subbot text that was on the hand. Now this part was really hard to do because you see each of these lasers have the text bot track to them. I actually had to do that frame by frame. So I'd go through, I'd move the bot over, and go to the next frame, then I'd move it over, and I had to do this over 10 times for every single laser beam. We have some more keyframing with Social Blade. Then we have this scene, the Mr. Beast scene as Link. This is also one of my favorite scenes just because it looks so cool. And if you look closely, you can tell that his shield is actually the billboard that he bought. This was one of the harder scenes to do because I had to go through from my frame and move it in 3D, so I had to really rotate it and manipulate the billboard image so that it looked like it was actually his shield. And also, motion blur is a really good trick to use. For example, this is the scene without motion blur, and this is the scene with motion blur. It really just lets the graphics mesh with the original video a lot more than feeling like things were just like placed on top. This is also a funny joke where I put Vivo trying to use American music videos against, T-Series Indeed music videos. This is another cool Easter egg. As soon as Kirby disappears, I added these +1 mil text to each star. This is how many subscribers he was gaining. This was pretty funny. I don't know if anyone bothered to pause and see this, but I added that in. This is also pretty cool. Basically, you just do a really rough mask of the explosion, so that way it looks like it's going right on top. And use a lot of feathering. That way it doesn't have sharp edges. The mask just feels natural, like it's going on top of the logo. Yeah, this last scene was probably the coolest one of all. It was actually the first scene I did. That's sort of like a proof of concept that what I was going to be doing was worth it at all. And so this is actually the only scene that I used 3D motion tracking for, because the camera moves slow, there's not a lot of motion blur, so it actually works. So for those of you who don't know what 3D motion tracking is or how it works, basically the software will automatically pick up distinguishable points. For example, on the ground, you can see how it picks up certain features, and it'll recreate an artificial camera and recreate its movements, its rotations, so that you have like a fake camera in your program, so that when you add in objects like the T-Series and Brofist logo, it'll be as if it was in the real scene. And yeah. The last thing was like these things. This is actually like a variation of the newcomer meme I made. You might not have noticed, but this kind of design I used is actually mimicking the design they use in Smash Ultimate when showing off all the characters. But I thought that was pretty cool. And that's how I made the video. It's honestly pretty simple, but like the work is just extremely monotonous, so you have to be prepared to do that. For example, halfway through the video, I felt like coming back to life as a human just so I could die again because of how brain dead and monotonous the work was. By the way, that was a joke. Don't take it too seriously. It wasn't that bad, but yeah, that was a quick overview. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time in an actual animated video.